Okay, so Google just dropped something that, honestly, I genuinely did not expect to see this year. Let's set the stage a bit here. If you look back at 2023 and early 2024, the entire AI ecosystem was pretty much defined by these fragmented, single-purpose tools, right? We had text generators sitting over here, image generators over there, and audio engines somewhere else entirely. And yeah, it was powerful, absolutely, but it was also fundamentally disconnected. After covering AI tools for a long time, I do not say this lightly when I call what Google just announced an unprecedented leap. It's called Gemini Omni. Now, this isn't just another chatbot upgrade or, a simple text-to-image generator. Google is introducing a system where you can take literally any input. I mean, a photo you just snapped on your phone, a quick voice memo, a raw video clip from your timeline, or even just a simple sentence, and turn all of it into a fully produced cinematic output in one single workflow. Everything, the whole shebang, happens through pure conversation. The core premise of this model is really simple, but honestly, it's absolutely staggering. Their catchphrase is, create anything from any input. Just think about what that actually means for your daily workflow for a second. Every content creator, educator, and designer has basically been stuck in this era of endlessly juggling 5 or 6 different AI tools just to get one single piece of final content out the door. You know the drill. You bounce from ChatGPT to brainstorm ideas, hop over to Midjourney or Stable Diffusion to try and get some concept art, drag those into Runway for motion, and then haul it all into Premiere just to piece it together. It is exhausting. Well, Gemini Omni is Google's answer to all of that. It's moving us completely away from that fragmented mess and into one unified space where the tool actually adapts to whatever you hand it. And really quick, because the landscape is shifting so incredibly fast, moving from that scattered, fragmented mess to these massive unified systems practically overnight, we are breaking down massive AI shifts like this every single week. So if you want to stay ahead of the curve, please take a quick second to like, subscribe, and share this explainer. And I'm genuinely really curious, so let us know down in the comments. What AI tools are you currently juggling right now? Doing that helps the channel out tremendously, and it ensures you never miss these critical updates as the industry evolves. All right, so here is our roadmap for this explainer. 1. The paradigm shift. 2. 5 core capabilities. 3. Practical workflows. And 4. Current limitations. Take a deep breath and let's jump in. Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1. The paradigm shift. Moving from a pipeline to a conversation. So what's actually changing here under the hood? Google describes this new model family as being built to create anything from any input, with the very first public model being Gemini Omni Flash. And guys, this fundamentally changes the very nature of digital creation. Traditional AI workflows, well, they're siloed by design. Think about the anxiety and just the pure friction of the old way, that linear pipeline. You're basically forced to play the role of a stressed-out creative project manager bouncing between different apps and interfaces all day. If you want to change one tiny element early in the pipeline, yep, you have to re-render absolutely everything downstream. It's such a frustrating, time-consuming loop. But the Omni way collapses that entire pipeline into a single, unified conversational layer. You aren't switching apps anymore, you aren't managing API keys across a dozen websites, and you're definitely not exporting massive files back and forth. You are literally just talking to the system. You give it the raw ingredients, tell it what you want, and it dynamically understands how to mix them together. You're going from being a technical operator to functioning like a true creative director. Moving on to Section 2, 5 core capabilities, the engine behind Omni. Google actually built this system around 5 distinct technical leaps. This is exactly why I'm saying this is not just a standard chatbot upgrade. Let's break these down real quick. First up, any-to-video generation. Now, this isn't just basic text to video. This means feeding it text, images, or audio in literally any combination to get a high-quality directed video output. Second is conversational video editing. We're going to dive much deeper into this in a second, but essentially, it turns natural language into a fully functional editing suite. Third, real-world grounding. The system isn't just slapping pixels together, it actually understands physical space. Fourth, character consistency. If you've played with AI video at all, you know this has been the absolute holy grail. Historically, a character looks completely different from one shot to the next, right? Well, Omni locks in that consistency across the entire generation. And finally, number 5, digital avatar creation. You can actually build a personalized AI avatar of yourself. But, and this is a big but, to establish some incredibly important guardrails right out of the gate, Google is requiring strict identity verification to limit deepfake misuse. Let's zoom in on stateful editing for a minute, which falls right under that conversational video editing capability we just talked about. Forget digging through complex timelines, adjusting nodes, or messing with keyframes. With Omni, you literally just speak your edits. But here's the kicker. Because the editing is stateful, the AI remembers all your previous instructions and your narrative context. Imagine you're in an editing session. You generate a video of a car driving down a street. You say, make it brighter. It does. Then you say, switch to an anime style. It applies the anime style, but it doesn't forget that you wanted it brighter. Then you say, add rain to the background, but keep the car perfectly in focus. It just layers your requests naturally. It actually remembers the journey of your prompts. It acts exactly like a human editor sitting right next to you, who understands the whole history of the project, instead of some amnesiac machine that starts entirely from scratch every single time you hit enter. Now, equally important is real-world grounding. Why does this matter? Well, if you've spent any time at all with past AI models, you've seen the hallucinations. They generate things that look completely plausible at first glance, but then they feel physically wrong when they actually start moving. We've all seen the viral clips, right? People casually walking straight through solid brick walls, or someone picks up a cup of coffee and the liquid magically morphs into solid plastic. It's just unsettling. But because Omni is built on top of Gemini's massive existing knowledge base, it actually computes real-world physics. It fundamentally knows that gravity pulls things down. It knows how water is supposed to splash off a solid surface, how lighting bounces off different textures, and how human motion should naturally flow. It's moving from just generating a pretty sequence of pixels to actually simulating a mini reality. All right, let's jump into Section 3, Practical Workflows, Seeing Omni in Action. It's time to transition from the theory to some practical application. I mean, it's one thing to talk about architecture, but what does this actually look like in your hands? Here is workflow number 1, which is absolutely perfect for anyone building a brand or launching a product. Step 1, you upload a simple, raw product photo, a transparent image of your logo, and a quick 2-sentence text description. Step 2, you prompt the AI. You might say something like, create a 30-second cinematic advertisement for this product. Match the tone of an Apple product launch. You know, clean, minimal, premium. Omni instantly gives you a draft. Then, in step 3, you refine it via conversation. You simply tell it, make the lighting warmer, or switch the background to a high-end studio look. You are saving hours of rendering time and completely avoiding the massive costs of hiring a motion graphics team. You get to just act as the creative director, and the AI keeps your product and brand aesthetic perfectly consistent while it executes all those complex stylistic changes. And then there's workflow number 2, which is an absolute game changer for educators, communicators, and students. Step 1, input a PDF of your lecture notes, maybe some rough whiteboard diagrams you drew, and a quick voice memo from your phone explaining the concept. Step 2, prompt for an animated explainer. In fact, Google actually demoed this exact scenario. They showed Omni taking raw scientific inputs and being prompted to explain the incredibly complex concept of protein folding to a high schooler using a stop-motion clay animation style. Step 3, you refine. And the output they got from this was remarkable. The audio clip of the teacher's voice was perfectly lip-synced to the clay characters. And because of that real-world grounding we talked about, the scientific animation wasn't just a pretty guess. It was physically and scientifically accurate. You can tell the system, hey, slow down the folding sequence so it's easier to follow, or add floating text labels to each stage that track with the 3D objects. And the system just does it, mapping text perfectly into the 3D space. So, the crucial point is, we need to look at Section 4, Current Limitations, the honest reality check. Look, we need to take a step back and ground the hype for a minute. I am always going to give you an impartial, clear-eyed look at these tools. Omni is incredible, yes, but it is not magic, and we need to have an honest reality check about where it currently stands today. Let's walk through these limitations. First, the development stage. Gemini Omni Flash is very much an early release. The really complex, long-form, multi-scene generations are still a work in progress. What you see today is the absolute floor of the technology, not the ceiling. Second, content filters. Some early users are finding Omni's content policy to be, well, quite aggressive. This means it sometimes flags or completely blocks benign creative edits simply because they trip a sensitive keyword. This is absolutely going to be a friction point for creative professionals who need total flexibility and don't want their artistic or slightly edgy commercial ideas inadvertently blocked by strict safety rails. And third, output length. Right now, it is strictly restricted to short-form content. And by short-form, I mean generations in the realm of 3 to 5 seconds, not full minutes. If you want to generate a sprawling 20-minute documentary, we just aren't there yet. But even despite those limitations, we have to look at the bigger picture here, the convergence of modalities. We've spent years watching AI get really, really good at individual, isolated tasks. writing scripts, drawing pictures, synthesizing speech. The true power of Gemini Omni isn't just generating a cool video. It's the fact that a single unified system now seamlessly understands all of these modalities simultaneously. Processing text, audio, and physics all at once is a massive breakthrough compared to the sequential processing we've relied on up to this point. It interprets the emotion in your voice, the text in your prompt, the visual composition of your reference image, and the physics of the real world, all concurrently, driven entirely by natural human language. The creative pipeline is no longer a pipeline, guys. It's an ongoing conversation. Just think about the sheer velocity of AI development over the last 12 months alone. We went from struggling to get an AI to draw hands properly to a system that can generate complete, grounded videos from an iPhone photo and a voice note. If Gemini started as a simple text chatbot and has already evolved into this, what on earth does version 3 or version 5 look like? That is the provocative thought I want to leave you with today. And as I mentioned earlier, I really do want to hear from you. What is the very first thing you would build with a unified tool like this? Drop your answers down in the comments. I read every single one. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will see you in the next one.